We're live. We're live. Good afternoon. 1 o'clock, 5th of May, 2017. Vielle Google Hangout. So, welcome everybody. Remember, Vielle's Google Hangouts are CPD accredited, so anybody watching can contact us and get a CPD certificate after the event and go towards your hours, whether you're a lawyer or a surveyor or even a dentist. And so, guys, let's just introduce everyone here. It's me, Neil Singer, and here is Dale Henry. And here is Richard Walford.
Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon, Richard. And here's me. And let's talk about some news. Let's get some news going, guys. The first news I'd like to talk about we're doing a new thing. We're doing a new thing, everybody, which if you go to, I just want to share my screen with you, if I may. I want to show you something. Here, this is if you come to any of our Google Hangouts going forward, you'll be able to see on the Vielle website, you'll be able to see for each Google Hangout a link announcing you can either watch live or you can actually join in. So if you've got a Gmail account and you're logged into your Google Chrome, just click on link to be a participant and you'll pop up and you can join us live and join the debate. Say you are, and let's see who's going to be the first person to come online and to join in. So we're all very excited. So don't be shy, come on down. Now, the news of the week. Right, first news I would like to talk about is Standard Life. Oh, look, Standard Life merger, an Aberdeen merger, as you can see there. So, what do you guys think about it? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it? No?
You just have.
Do you want me to talk about it? Yeah, why don't you talk about it?
Why don't you talk about it?
Why don't I talk about it? All right, I'll talk about it. All right. What you would do is guys need to mute your microphones. Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I muted me. Are you muted? Okay, so you can hear me, everyone? Okay. I'm a bit out of practice. So when I started in the investment agency game 15, 20 years ago, if you wanted to be an investment agent, you just phoned up all the institutions and there was your client list and you could find a building that Legal & General was selling and you could offer it to Scottish Widows and then you could offer it or if they didn't want to buy it, you could offer it to Hill Samuel, etc. And all of a sudden you were an investment agent. And as time went by, the various institutions started to merge and they became bigger and bigger and bigger and they became fewer and fewer institutional clients. The merger of Aberdeen and Standard Life is the largest I can remember. And if you think who Aberdeen are, Aberdeen would have been Scottish Widows, Hill Samuel, Lloyds, Barclays. You've now got Standard Life, which is again equally as large. So you've got two organizations becoming enormous organizations come together, which means that the agency role of trading between institutions is once again enormously diminished by the merger of these institutions. And I think that is going to have a profound impact on the market. So that's my first thing. Next topic, the next thing I thought was interesting. Let's go for the next thing to talk about. House price growth. House price growth slows as consumer prepare for cash squeeze. Well, I think this is all to do with Brexit myself. Any views? Dale?
Hello. Okay, I'm here. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We're very sick today.
Right, go back to the script, the article.
House price growth slows as consumer prepare for cash squeeze.
I can't see anything. No, it's not working.
I agree with you, Neil. I think that the residential market will slow down as nervousness about the impact of Brexit materializes, and I think ultimately this will filter through to the commercial market to a certain extent as well. However, in the commercial market, which is business, people can't generally stand still and do nothing, so there will remain a good level of activity. We're seeing it at the moment still, although it is a thinner market, perhaps with buyers and sellers. However, there is still activity, and although the market is very yield driven, if you've got the stock, you can sell it.
Okay, excellent. Next thing I want to talk about, Cluttons. What happened to Cluttons this week? Am I live? Can you hear? Is my microphone on? I think we've got problems with the Google. I think we've got problems with Google today. Can you hear me, guys? Through the microphone? I think the Google software is not working very well. Anyway, so Cluttons went bust this week, and I think that Cluttons was a traditional agency which has been around for years and years and years. It's quite surprised really they went into a CVA. So I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't close enough to it, but I think that's indicative of what's happening in the world. So that's not great. So that's my news of the week, guys. Anything that you guys want to add? Anything interesting? Is there any stars of the week, Richard?
Any stars of the week? What do you mean?
Any politicians that have been in the news, or sports people?
Any politicians that have been in the news this week? I can't imagine what you're referring to. Okay, it can't have anything to do with a radio interview, could it?
Yes, I was thinking more than maths myself. Maths. Dale, who's your star of the week? Dale?
My star of the week. Let me think.
He's very well prepared. He's very well prepared. No.
I'll come back to you. Let me have a think. I'll come back to you later on.
Let's talk. Dale, you need to mute your microphone.
Well, you just asked me a question.
Okay, guys, right. I went to PropTech this week. Let's talk about PropTech. I went to the PropTech conference this week, which is the biggest show of the year, talking about property technology, because obviously we embrace it a lot at Vielle. So I thought I'd give you guys my feedback. I thought it was terrible, actually. I thought that the compares did a fantastic job. I thought the location was terrible. It was the basement of Victoria House in Bloomsbury. I couldn't find my way around. It was very confusing, very hot, and it was a terrible stage area. And for a conference that was meant to be techie, it looked like it was something out of the 70s. So I thought the actual venue was terrible. I thought the Compares did a very good job with very poor quality speakers. The way I don't know why it's so much worse than last year. Last year there were very interesting topics discussed by very interesting people who got their points across. This year it seems to be all about self-promotion. I mean, I don't want to mention any companies by a particular name, but VTS stood up for half an hour and just talked about, they did a sales pitch to the room. I couldn't see, I didn't need to go to a conference as a delegate to listen to a sales pitch about VTS. I can read up and look, I know where they are, I know their website. I'm not saying it wasn't a good sales pitch, but that isn't the point of a PropTech conference. The point of a PropTech conference is about trying to educate your delegates, tell them what's coming, and to get some discussions going. And I think that what they failed to do this year at the PropTech conference was actually achieve that. What they did instead, in fact, if there's anybody who's watching who was actually at the PropTech conference, I'd love for you to either come on and give me your view or send us a message and we can talk about it. But actually, I found the whole event really quite poor. The highlight for me was a fantastic talk though by a guy called Eric Ubels, and he is the guy responsible for what's known as the Edge in Amsterdam, and he built this. He project managed the build of what is the most sustainable building in the world, and his presentation was actually tremendous. And if he's watching, which I'm sure he is, congratulations. I thought that was an excellent talk. The worst comment of the day. Let me talk about the worst comment of the day. There was a debate held to discuss the future of a state agency and how and whether online was online and offline and etc. etc. So in this most esteemed panel, there was a chap called Matt Robinson, the creator of Nested. I'll show you what Nested is in a moment. There was a lady who was the tech director of, I'm not going to say which firm because I don't want to get myself in trouble, but a relatively large chain, and there were a couple of other people. The question was asked to the panel, what new technology have you used in the last year to help your business as an agent? So here I am in the audience thinking, oh, this could be interesting. This could be interesting. What new technology can... And the answer was live chat. Live chat. I mean, we've been using live chat at Vielle for 5 years. And this is something I go to a conference for, to be told of new coming technology. And they talk about something as old hat as live chat. I nearly fell off my chair. So but the thing that actually I thought was completely wrong and actually showed the lack of preparation for the conference was this. One of the questions posed to this most esteemed panel related to Purple Bricks. Now, anybody who watches our Google Hangouts will know that I'm a big fan of Purple Bricks. Purple Bricks share price goes up and up and up. And yesterday, they announced an 83% increase in their instruction base. So understandably, the question was posed to this panel of most esteemed agents, what do you think? And one by one, they actually knocked Purple Bricks. Except for one chap, I can't remember his name, one chap who's got a traditional agency, he actually said, look, good luck to them. He says, I'm not too bothered by them, but good luck to them. But everyone else knocked them for 6. But Matt Robinson of Nested specifically knocked them. And he said that they were basically buying the market because they had more money. And they were basically a race to the bottom in terms of fees. And it basically was the Ryanair of the estate agency world. Well, my view is, what would you rather own? Would you rather own Ryanair or British Airways? Which pays you more profit? So I think that whilst people may be scared of Purple Bricks, to actually knock them so aggressively in a public arena is very wrong, because they're worth £300 million now. Their share price has tripled since they launched. And this company was being severely knocked by a relatively young man who went to a tech conference as a speaker wearing a pair of jeans, which is what everyone does in tech conferences, but wearing a hoodie and a t-shirt. I thought it was going to... I just think it showed a lack of respect for the audience who paid good money to go to the conference, and I think it showed a lack of respect to the organisers. So that's what I thought PropTech this year, which I think was a great shame, because I think it's a great showpiece for the industry. But there were some very interesting people there. I just think they need to make sure their speakers are better quality next year. So that's my bit about PropTech. Guys, let's talk about the market. Who wants to talk about the market? Richard?
Sure. What would you like to speak about specifically, or just our recent activity?
Whatever you want.
We've done 2 deals in the past 5 days. Having brought these 2 properties to the market end of last week, we've exchanged on both of them this week. It's interesting. One is a small lock-up shop in London with term certain of 5 years. £27,500 a year of income, and the other is a retail leisure investment in South Shields in the northeast of England, which is just under £1 million. It shows that the liquid end of the market is very active, and there are private investors around who will move very quickly in order to secure income return for themselves. We brought £30 million worth of sales to the market last week. We've brought another 5 or 6 million pounds to the market this week as well, with a further I think 6 or 7 million pounds next week, and these range from 400 odd thousand pounds up to 7 million pounds. It's without question, obviously the smaller lot sizes move quicker in general. However, the larger lot sizes are also seeing good levels of interest, but obviously, as you can appreciate, with the larger lot sizes, there is more to think about, more to consider generally, and therefore they don't gather momentum quite as quickly. But the market is showing activity. There is no doubt about it. You've just got to pitch it right, be conscious of what people want and the yields people are looking for.
Richard, can I think it would be very helpful if you actually talked about some of the properties that we actually sold, because I think actually, let me show. Let's find, because I think actually it will help people. So where is? You start talk about Twickenham. I'll find it.
Okay, so we sold a Tony and Guy hairdressing salon in Twickenham earlier this week, which is a ground floor lock-up shop within a mixed-use building. Was an office building converted to residential. Tony and Guy on one side and Costa on the other side. Tony and Guy have been trading from this unit for about 30 odd years. And they signed a new lease in February for 10 years with a 5-year break. So it's your typical Tony and Guy hairdressing salon let to Tony and Guy, but underlet to a franchise, paying £27,700 a year. We went to the market last week. We exchanged on Tuesday, so just after the bank holiday, and we had an extraordinarily high level of interest with one party in particular who tried to force our client's hand, and in the end there was competition. But they, to be fair to them, moved very quickly and got themselves in a position to exchange, having worked on it over the weekend, and were ready to exchange on Tuesday. And they made their offer, and our client exchanged contracts with them. So it just goes to show that it just goes to show that if you provide parties with comprehensive information, with everything that they need at the outset, then you don't waste time going under offer, will they, won't they, and actually buyers ultimately just want to do deals. They're buying for a reason. At this level, they want to buy for income return, and the sooner they have that income, the better. So that's a good example. The other example is a deal that Dale sold earlier this week, which is a retail and leisure investment up in South Shields for just under £1 million, when, again, we sold it to a buyer that we'd never come across before, whose solicitor, I don't believe Dale raised a single inquiry or even actually contacted the vendor solicitor, but they reviewed the legal package, cleared money laundering with us, made their offer to treat, and we exchanged. Simple. Both clients absolutely delighted with the results and with the speed and the transparency of the process. And this is exactly the type of experience that our clients get from us, because they appreciate the level of detail that we go into before going to the market. And actually, once we're in the market, we can capture people's interest, capitalize on it immediately, and get a deal done and move on to the benefit of us, of course, of the clients, of course, and of the buyers.
Can I just mention that the other interesting thing on South Shields was that it was actually offered for sale. It was put into one of the National Ballroom auctions prior to us being instructed, and for whatever reason didn't I don't believe they had any bids in the room at all. So it's interesting that not, you know, only a few months after we managed to sell it within 3 days, I think it was, of going to the market. So perhaps just shows the sort of the difference of approach between sort of the ballroom auction and sometimes private treaty is you know, auction's not always the answer.
And Dale, we've got a problem with muting. If guys, because you could make sure you mute. I'm actually going to just come back to you on that. As people know who watch us, we use the click to purchase functionality when we're selling properties, so that people can exchange online by clicking a button and making an offer, and then we exchange the contract. And the bizarre thing yesterday at the PropTech conference is that nobody talked about executions online, and I do not understand it, given it's the next step. We've already done 200 million. So why people aren't talking about it is beyond me. I want to answer a question. We've had a question from Rob Simmons, who's asked, apart from Purple Bricks, are there any disruptive agencies around? Rob, two agencies you need to keep your eye on. How Simple. How Simple is again, a new online estate agency. This is backed by Charles Dunstan, or Sir Charles Dunstan. You've probably seen their adverts on the TV where a bloke walks along and he says, that saved you £5,000, that's a new kitchen. And the other one to look at is Yopa. Yopa is very well financed by some very well-known high net worth property people, and Yopa is also making a bit of a splash. So there are other estate agencies around who are actually achieving their entry into the market and actually making a bit of a noise. The point about online estate agencies, and the big point that they missed yesterday, this panel at the PropTech conference, is this: they're criticizing Purple Bricks, they're criticizing the other online agencies for not providing quality of service. They're relatively new businesses. I mean, Purple Bricks has been around, what, a year and a half? And they will learn and they will improve their service. Now, I think their price point is particularly low. I don't understand their model, and I don't pretend to, but it's a new business. And just because you've got a shop front in the high street, it doesn't mean that you can't offer a quality of service, and it doesn't mean by being online you can't do the same. There's no, you're watching us on a Google Hangout. Do you really think that in no time at all everybody would be using their phones with video phones? You'll be talking to your estate agent on your phone. You will have exactly the same experience as if you're standing in front of them. So I don't see any reason why the online agencies can't provide the same quality of service as the high street agencies. I question their price point. I mean, I just showed you a slide from Yopa. It says fixed fee £780. I don't understand how they can make a living, make a profit at that level. But what they're doing is they're playing off the fact that people think that estate agents get paid too much money. They get paid 1.5% to 2% for listing something on Zoopla. Now, I'm not saying that's what they do. That's what many buyers and sellers believe they do, as opposed to actually doing the agency role. So these companies are playing, in my opinion, off that dissatisfaction with the agencies. Whereas actually, rather than saying we've saved you £5,000, it's a new kitchen, what they should be doing is saying we offer a fantastic service and it only costs you £1,000. So that's my bit. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Do you think, Neil? Do you think that the reason Purple Bricks, for example, were publicly criticised at this conference yesterday, which I think is inappropriate personally? I don't think it's necessary to publicly criticise your competition or privately criticise your competition to other clients. If you feel you're better, say you're better. If you feel that the competition is inferior, say they're inferior. But to publicly criticise other companies who actually are being very successful, and I'm sure plenty of people in that room yesterday would have loved to have had a business the strength of Purple Bricks. Is that born through dissatisfaction that there are these companies trying to disrupt the lifeblood, if you like, of these companies who have been doing the same thing for decades, and all of a sudden they're not having things all their own way?
Let me think about that one. What was interesting is that they have this thing at the Prompters called Slido, where you can make you can bid straight anywhere, any time during the room. You can make a vote on a question posed, and a question posed by James Darsley, who was the compere, was: would you, if you were selling your house, would you use a traditional agent or a non agent? And actually, the room, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, were majority in favour of using a traditional agent. Now, I think you're entirely right. I think that you shouldn't criticize your competition. You should actually congratulate them, and it should actually inspire you to actually do better. I wish I could remember the name of the gentleman. I think his name was Eric Woodward. It was Eric something, who was a traditional agent, and he made a very clever comment, because what he said was this. He said, I'm a traditional agent, and I welcome the online agents because all I do is copy them. We've got a guest. Mike. Who's Mike? We have a mystery guest. Mike Hammonds. Oh, he's gone. I've scared him off. Obviously clicked the wrong link. What a shame. Mike, come back. Anyway, so that's what I think about these agents. I think that this Eric guy was actually absolutely right. He said, you learn from new businesses. People often say that if you invent a new product, it's not necessarily the first company that invents it is the one that actually succeeds. It's more often not the second or third who copies it. So the high street agents should copy. In fact, they already are. If you think about it, you've got Countrywide with their hybrid model. They're already copying the online agents. So I think that there's a bit of nervousness, and I think there's probably a bit of jealousy. But really, that's not that. I agree with you, Richard. I think it's the wrong thing to do. They should actually be congratulating them and embracing them and welcoming them to the fold. I don't understand why they knock them so much myself. Anything? Is that it? Good? Okay. Shall we carry on with sales? Shall we, Dale?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about sales?
Yep, sure. Let me just kick off with some of the sales we've brought to the market in the last few days this week. The first one I want to talk about is a prime city centre office building we've just brought to the market in Sheffield, which is let to Irwin Mitchell LLP, who I'm sure most of you will know. It's about 40,500 square feet office building. It's actually next door to Irwin Mitchell's UK headquarters. And they've been in occupation of this building since it was built in 2001. So committed, and have actually just signed a new lease in September 2016, which expires in September 2023. Owen Mitchell, highly secure covenant, £200 million turnover. And in terms of location, this is located in the Riverside Exchange development in the city centre, where you've got other occupiers such as the Home Office, the Health and Safety Executive. There's also a very strong legal presence. You've got the Crown Court and the Magistrates Court literally just within a few hundred metres. We're asking just over £7 million, which is 7.35%, £174 a foot. On this, I particularly encourage anyone to have a look on the website, and you'll see, particularly the photo and the video, just the quality of the building location. Moving on, we've also just brought to the market a long-let supermarket investment in Ivybridge in Devon, which is let for just over 11 years to the Co-op Group. Pre-tax profits of over £80 million. So again, highly secure income. This forms the anchor store for the town's principal shopping centre, and the tenants spent about £1 million on the store recently. So that shows how committed they are. We're asking 2.84 million, which is 6.25%. We've also just brought to the market a London retail investment in Bromley Town Centre. Great location, stone's throw from the Into Bromley shopping centre. You've got Costa, Cafe Rouge, Foxton's Ask, all surrounding this property. It's let to Jennings Racing, good covenant on a new 15-year lease with a tenant's break at year 10. Trades as Jennings Bet, who are, I believe, the UK's largest independent bookmakers. They've got about 100 locations throughout the UK. We're asking 870,000, which is 6%. No VAT payable on this one. Yep.
With regard to Jennings,
Yes.
which is a perfect London investment for someone. 10 years, 870,000, 6%. In Bromley, we sold a building in Bromley last year at 6%. We've just gone to the market, been in the market 2 days. This is my favourite sell at the moment, actually. I'm going to give you a bet, given that it's Jennings Bet. I will give you a bet that this is sold by next Friday. How much you want to bet, Dale?
I'm not betting against that.
Should.
Why so long?
Yes. Okay, guys, can you see? We've had a question from Rob. Is that no? Sorry, from Gerardo about the Scottish market.
What's the question? How is the Scottish market performing?
The Scottish market is challenging. However, we have been very active in the Scottish, or we are very active, I should say, in the Scottish market. We've got various sales at the moment, which we're dealing with in Scotland. We have put one under offer this week, which is a retail warehouse let to Halford in Elgin for 9 years. We were quoting £1.2 million, which is 8%, and we put it under offer this week in excess of the asking price for someone to, although it's not called exchange in Scotland, to exchange by the middle of next week. We've also brought to the market a very interesting mixed-use building in the centre of Glasgow in St Vincent Street, the Martha's Cafe, which is a very well-known cafe in Glasgow, and the office building above, which is known as the Hat Rack, which is a multi-let office investment, as Neil is showing you now. And there is very good interest in this as well. We've also got an Iceland food store in Scotland with 13 years term certain and with fixed rental increases as well throughout the lease, which again there is good interest in. So it would be wrong to say that the market is frenetic, but it's not frenetic in England or anywhere else at the moment. So it's really wrong to say that it's frenetic in Scotland. However, like anything, if you've got the stock and you are pricing it correctly, then again, there are both Scottish and English investors out there buying and wanting to buy actively in the Scotland market. And we've sold some banks this year also in places like Montrose, where the prices we've achieved have been excellent in the low 5%, and there's been similar properties which have also entered into the auction catalogues as well earlier this year. And in Scotland, we have done better than the traditional ballroom auctions. So, Gurinder, don't be dissuaded from looking in Scotland, because the market is active and there are interesting and good deals to pick up.
Okay.
Can I just, for Gurinder or anyone else that's looking in Scotland, just one other to mention, Richard, that we have just brought to the market is we've got a prime shop which we've just brought to the market in Aberdeen. I don't know, Neil, if you can show people quickly that one, which is on Union Street, right next to the Trinity Shopping Centre. Ground floor shop let to EE Limited. They've been in occupation since 2001, and they've just signed a new lease, a new 10-year lease from last year, at a rebased rent. Obviously, the covenant speaks for itself. I think they've got profits of over £400 million, and you'll see this is a prime position. We're asking 815,000, which is 7%. So, for a prime shop, you obviously there's not many prime shops you can buy to such a quality tenant at a yield of 7%. So I'd encourage anyone to have a look at that one as well.
Okay, guys, just had a comment from Philip Eves, who says typically he believes there's a 1% discount when selling in Scotland. I don't think that's right. I think on the Montrose, Dale, you need to mute. On the Montrose property, we got 5.3%, wasn't it, Richard? 5.3%. Well, you're not getting 4.3% for a similar property in England. In fact, when we sold the building in Montrose at 5.3%, which is 15 years to Lloyds Bank or Bank of Scotland, in the same week we sold a building in Neath, which was at 5.25%. And we sold a building in Bradford at 5%. It doesn't make the buildings in Scotland 6%. So actually, there's a slight yield movement in Scotland, but it's slight. I don't think it's a point. Not from what we're seeing. I don't know if any of you guys disagree with that. One other quick question we had from Rob was, is there a prop tech incubator? Well, the one who makes a lot of noise and the one who's always on the stage whenever I go to a conference is Pi Labs. And Pi Labs, what they seem to do is they put money into little startups in property, and they obviously take a return on their money. So they're making a name for themselves. And there's actually a few around. There was an announcement recently of a £200 million fund created, where I think people like CPD have invested to try and get into the prop tech sector and actually provide money. The reality is it's very, very hard to raise money. I'm actually going to get a friend of mine to come on maybe next week or the week after, who has successfully just raised some money, a decent amount of money for an existing tech business. The problem people often say is that when it comes to raising money, you're either too big or you're too small. If you're not making sufficient revenues, investors aren't interested. But if you're making sufficient revenues, then you don't need their money. And sometimes they say, well, you're too small. Well, if you're too small, you need their money to get going. So it's very hard actually to find people who will actually back an idea. I don't think there's that much money being thrown in by these tech ventures. That's my experience anyway. Right, Dale, any more sales?
Couple of others. We've got a restaurant investment in Southampton, which we're in the market with at the moment. We do have some interest, but it's available as we speak, which is just over 11 years to Bella Italia. Right in the city centre, next to Debenhams. Tenants refurbished the unit, which shows how committed they are. And on that, we're asking 810,000, which is 7%. I don't know. And we also have a retail store in Willenhall, which is let to Poundland on a new lease from March this year, off a rebased rent. Poundland, again, a highly secure income, net assets of just under £100 million. Interestingly, this is very close to Poundland's headquarters. We do have interest in this, and we have called for an online click to purchase best offers on 11 o'clock on Thursday next week. So there is still plenty of time if anyone is interested. There's a full legal package available now online, so plenty of time to do your due diligence and come forward with a bid next Thursday if you wish. I think that covers all the current sales.
Okay. All right. Well,
guys, I think we've been going on for 39 minutes. I think that's probably enough. Rob Simmons, you have asked 4 questions today. Next time, come on board as a participant. All you have to do is to go to the Google Hangout page on singleviellesales.com. You press the link, and you're in, and you can sell. You can become famous. The next couple of Hangouts coming up, we've actually got some interesting guests. We've got a chap called Lance Foreman, who is a very strong Brexiteer. So you can all ask him what he thinks about how he's ruined the property industry. And we've also got Philip Nell of Hermes. He will be coming on shortly as well. So we've got some interesting guests coming up. If anybody wants to come on as a guest, like I say, please either email me or any of the team afterwards, or just join automatically as the mystery Michael did and then disappeared again. So that's us. Anything else, guys? Dale?
Yes, I would just, you asked me at the beginning who my star of the week was. I said I'd think about it. My star of the week is Prince Philip. I think he's done a very, very good job, despite all his gaffes over the years. 70 years, I think he deserves to put his feet up.
Excellent answer. Richard, who's yours?
Richard, who was yours? Is it D?
D?
Mrs.
Diane.
No?
She's certainly something of the week. I'm not sure it's a star.
Okay.
Yeah, it can only get better.
It can only get better. Well, so good answer. Actually, I met John Lithgow. Did I ever tell you that? I met John Lithgow when he was here filming The Crown, where there was a young Prince Philip in it. Did you see The Crown? It was actually very good. Excellent. Excellent. Anyway, so guys, there's the Google Hangout. Lots to sell. Oh, for those of you who have stayed to the end, we can tell you about a sale being launched today. A £5 million restaurant investment in Manchester called the Quadrangle. Very interesting property, a terrace of restaurants in a growth area of the city where there's a lot of development going on. As you have stayed to the end, if you give us a call, we'll talk you through the details. All right, so thank you very much for joining us and have a good weekend.